On the 24th of February 2022, the Russian armed forces initiated a full-scale invasion of Ukraine.
Ukrainian servicemen fired anti-aircraft guns at Russian positions on Tuesday near Bakhmut.
No indication that President Putin has changed the overall aim of his brutal war against Ukraine. So we need to be prepared for the long haul.
In Ukraine, 71% of the people believe their country is already at war with Russia.
Role of Bakhmut gives Russia a platform to advance on two bigger cities, Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. Also be a welcome back.
Out of view, Moscow is waging
Bread prices in
another
Lebanon have increased by 70%, and on top of this, Russia is now...
Vladimir Putin's decision to invade Ukraine more than 8 months ago not only led to the destruction of Ukraine but to the destruction of Russia itself. Tens of thousands of people on both sides have already lost their lives over this conflict. 7.5 million Ukrainians left their country into refugees. Meanwhile, millions of Russians left Russia exiles. On September 21, 2022, President Putin announced the first-time mobilization of men in Russia since the Second World War. Our call for additional 300,000 young men to be drafted sent to the front line of Ukraine to fight. After the announcement, the prices for flights went rocket too high, as hundreds of thousands of Russian men suddenly became desperate to leave their country and escape, but they had and continued to have very limited options for escape. 4 months beforehand, nearly every country in Europe and North America had blocked off their airspaces to all Russian flights, becoming it increasingly difficult to escape by land as well. Ukraine is one of the largest exporters of grain, but Russia had blocked its ports in Black Sea, leaving Ukraine's last harvest stock in storage facilities and the next with no place to be stored. According to the World Food Programme, Ukraine alone supplies 42% of the world's sunflower oil, more than 16% of all maize or corn, nearly 10% of the world's barley, and about 9% of all wheat. Most attention is being paid to Ukraine wheat crop, which is crucial to a number of developing countries' supplies of bread and a basic staple. Russia is now holding its own food exports as a form of blackmail, holding back supplies to increase global price on trading wheat in exchange for a political support. Now, Russia's war on Ukraine is fast becoming a war on global security. All of this loss of people, either warfare or to migration, is only exacerbating what was already arguably Russians and Ukraine's biggest problem before the war. Truly, the result of these factors, the population of Ukraine has literally decreased every single year since 1993, down from the peak of nearly 52 million people right at the end of the Cold War to first over 41 million immediately before the invasion. When also factoring in the 2.5 million people in Crimea who were lost to the Russians in 2014. Russia's situation isn't that much better, plagued with largely the same societal and medical issues as Ukraine following the Soviet collapse in the 30 years now since 1992. Russia has only ever seen 3 years of population growth between 2013 and 2015. As the war in Ukraine continues to drag on and the casualties continue to mount up, Putin will be forced into calling in more draftees and conscripts to replace the losses. And that means that more and more draft-age men are going to be leaving the country to escape it. In order to stop them from leaving, Russia will eventually be left with little other choice than to shut down their borders completely, like during the Soviet era. Lastly, Russia is losing its future in technology. Over 1 million professionals have fled Russia today, and to the nation have faced the strongest sanctions in modern history. Technology sanctions also means Russia will not be able to reveal modern military forces for decades to come. This is Judel Cherry H. Degal, our perspective on the present.